and welcome to this first look exploring session looking at An Satire of the Three Estates by Sir David Lindsay. I think it would be fair to say that this is an approximation of a first look. I think the nature of the text, written in Scottish dialect, is the kind of thing where you really need to sit down with some specialists or some a series of Scottish readers who could navigate the original text as writ. We are not going to attempt that because it's not fair on our lovely readers to force them into attempting an accent or reading a text that is really difficult to cold read. So I have made a large number of editorial interventions on this text. Our primary aim here is to get the general sense of things, of how the play functions, rather than drilling down into the detail of individual lines, individual word choices. I'm just going to apologise to anyone who's hoping for that kind of work. That would happen further down the line, and would be with a very different room of people. The other thing is a content warning. We don't often do these, even though the plays, early modern plays are full of horrors. But just a general warning. This one's quite rude. There are some rude words, and they're used in quite inventively rude ways. So there's a certain amount of sexual content that you really need to be aware of, because it's, as I say, really quite explicit, and much more explicit than we often have in our YouTube sessions. We generally try to keep them reasonably unsweary. Quite rude. So you have been warned, okay? You really have. You continue at your own peril. Reading the opening gambit of this play, the opening proclamation, which is sort of a separate showette, as it were. It's the advert trailer for the show. And then the show itself. Reading parts of Fool, Placebo, Sensuality, and Good Counsel is...
I am arrogant. I am a fool every day of the year.
Reading Finlaw, Clark, Solace, and Homeliness is...
I, Alan Scott, in Suffolk, and despite the name, no connection with north of the border.
Reading Nuncius, Bessie, Rex Humanitas, and Flattery is...
Hello, I'm Sarah Blake, actor, writer, and director based in Germany.
Reading A Wife, a Courtier, Diligence, Danger, and Falset is...
I am Lois Potter. My first job was in Aberdeen, but that was a long time ago, so it's not going to show.
And reading Cotter, Old Man, Merchant, Wantonness, Fond, Jonnet, and Deceit is...
Hi, Steve Longstaff. I live on the route of many Scottish invasions into England.
And I'm your host, Robert Crighton. I will be reading occasional stage directions and generally keeping everything moving forward. So, as I say, we are deep back in time. It is 1552 in May or June-ish, before the main event, a few days before at least, the actual show and satire of the Three Estates happens. And before it happens, there's a proclamation made in Cowper of Fife, and so that is where we're going to begin this session, with the appearance, hopefully any second now, of the Nuncius, who will start the play. And so yes, let's see what this proclamation is all about.
Right, famous people. Ye shall understand how that a prince, right wise and vigilant, is shortly for to come into this land, and purposes to hold a parliament. His three estates thereto has done consent in Cooper town, into their best array, with support of the Lord Omnipotent, and thereto has affixed a certain day. With help of him that rules all a bone, that day shall be within a little space. Our purpose is on the 7th day of June, if weather serve, and we have rest in peace, we shall be seen into our playing place, in good array, about the hour of 7. Of thriftiness that day I pray you cease, but ordain us good drink against 11. Fail not to be upon the castle hill, beside the place where we purpose to play. With good stock wine your flagon see ye fill, and hold yourself the merriest that you may. Be not displeased whatever we sing or say, among sad matter, howbeit we sometime relay. We shall begin at 7 hours of the day. So keep ye tryst, forthwith we shall not fillet.
I shall be there, with God's grace, though they were never so great and pressed, and foremost in the fair, and drink a quart in Coper Town with my gossip, John Williamson, though all the note shall roar. I have a quick devil to my wife that holds me ever in sturt and strife. That wallow, and she wished that I would come to this good town. She would call me false, ladder and lown, and ding me in the dust. Oh, me that has such wicked wives. In great languor we laid our lives. Aye, Driefland in disease. Ye priests, as great prerogatives, that may depart, aye, from your wives, and chase them that ye please. Would God I had that liberty, that I might part as well as ye, without the contrary law. Or I be sticked with a knife, or to wad any other wife, that day should I never do.
Were thy wife dead, I see thou would be fain.
Oh, yea, I would, sweet sir, by Saint Filane.
Would thou not marry for our hand any other wife?
Yo, then the dumb devil stick me with any knife. Whoever did marry again, the fiend mock fang them. As the priest does I, strike in among them.
Then thou man keep thy chastity as affairs.
I shall leave chest as abbots, monks, and friars. Master, whereto should I make myself miscarry? Where I, as priests, may swive and never marry.
Where hast thou been, false ladron loon? Gotten and drinking in the town? Who gave thee leave to come from home?
Oh, ye gave me leave, fair lucky dame.
Why hast thou tarried here so long?
Well, I might not thrust out through the throng, till that young man the play proclaimed.
Ah, trowest thou that day, false churl defamed, to gang to Coper to see the play?
Yea, that I will, dame, if I may.
No, I shall come there too sickerly, and thou shalt bide at home and keep the key.
Fair lucky dame, that were great shame if I that day should bide at home. Well, bide ye at home, for come ye there, ye will make all the town to stir when you're full of balmy drink. Besides, you none may stand for stink. Therefore, bide ye at home that day, that I may come and see the play.
False churl, by God, that shall ye not, and all thy cracks shall be dear cost. Swift, churl, speed thee home speedily, incontinent, and milk the kye, and muck the barn ere I come home.
All shall be done, fair lucky dame. I am so dry, dame, ere I go, I mun go drink a penny or two.
A devil a drew shall come in thy throat. Speed hand, or I shall pack thy coat. And to begin, false churl, take there and plat.
The fiend receive the hands that gave me that. I beseech you, for God's sake, lucky dame, ding me no more this day, till I come home. Then shall I put me even unto your will.
Ere ever I stint, thou shalt have strikes thy fill.
And here shall the wife ding the churl, and he shall cry,
God's mercy! Now wonder and woe be to them all their lives, the which are married with such unhappy wives.
Ah, I ken 4 wives, false ladron loon, bolder nor I, dwelling in Coopertown.
Well, if they be worse, go thou and they together. I pray God not the fiend receive thee thither.
and we can infer they exit or disappear or something as we have another character coming on.
Wow. Mary hears and felon are out. Speak, sirs, what gate may I get out? I rue that I come here. My name, sirs, would ye understand? They call me Findlaw of the Footband, a noble man of war. There is no 50 in this land, but I dare ding them hand for hand. See, such a brand I bear, not long sensing beside and silk, upon the sunny side of a dyke. I slew with my right hand 1,000, yea, and 1,000 too. My fingers yet are bloody, lo, and none durst me gain stand. Which it does me mickle ill, that I cannot get fighting my fill. Neither in peace nor war will no man for their ladies' sakes with me strike 20 marked strokes, with halberd, sword, or spear. When Englishmen come into this land, had I been there with my bright brand, without any help, but mine alone on pinky crags, I should have riven them all in rags, and laid on scalp for scalp. Sin none will fight, I think it best to lie down here and take my rest. Then will I think none ill. I pray the great God of his grace to send us war and never peace, that I may fight my fill.
And here shall he lie down. Various people are going to start coming in. First of all, the fool.
My lord, by him that wore the crown of throne, more coward was never sin gone was born. He loves himself and other men he lacks. I ken him well for all his boasts and cracks. Howbeit he now be like in captain clad. At pinky klooch he was the first that fled. I take on hand ere I steer of this stead, this cracking churl to flee with and cheap head.
Here shall the old man come in, leading his wife in a dance.
Bessie, my heart, I mun lay down and sleep, and in mine arms thee quietly thou creep. Oh, Bessie, my heart, first let me lock thy cunt, then let me keep the key as I was wont.
My good husband, lock it even as ye please. I pray God send you great honour and ease.
And here he shall lock her cunt and lay the key under his head. He shall sleep, and she shall sit beside him.
Lusty lady, I pray you heartfully, give me license to bear you company. Ye see I am an comely courtier, which never yet did woman dishonour.
My fair mistress, sweeter than the amber, give me license to lodge into your chamber. I am the richest merchant in this town. Ye shall have silk, have kirtle, hood, and gown.
I you beseech, my lusty lady bright, to give me leave to lie with you all night. And of your quantum let me shoot the locks, and of fine gold ye shall receive a box.
Fair damsel, how please ye me? I have no more gear nor ye see, for so long as this may see or stand, it shall be I at your command. Now it is the best that ye ever saw.
Now welcome to me above them all. Was never wife so straightly rocked? See ye not how my cunt is locked?
Thinks he not shame that briber blunt to put a lock upon your cunt?
But see if you can make remede to steal the key from under his head.
That shall I do without a doubt. Let me see if I can get out. Lo, here the key. Do what you will.
Now then, let us go play our fill.
And they shall go into some quiet place. Meanwhile, Findlaw seems to awake.
Who is then immediately followed by a different voice.
Have I accidentally doubled you as the same
Yes.
person? Oh,
Well, Findlaw followed by Clark.
yes. Someone else can jump in to be the clerk. Stephen can jump in and be a clerk, if you could.
Okay.
Will none with me in France go to the wars, where I am captain of 100 spears? I am so hardy, sturdy, strong, and stout, that out of hell the devil I dare ding out.
If thou be good or evil, I cannot tell. They're not so sonsy that so does rouse themselves. Binky Clooch, I knew, right wonder well thou get no credence for to bear a crell. Since such as thou began to brawl and boast, the commonweal of Scotland has been lost. Thou cries for war, but I think peace were best. I pray to God to send us peace and rest, on that condition that thou and all thy fellows were by the crags high hanged on the gallows, who of this war has been the foundament. I pray to the great God omnipotent, that all the world and more mot on them wonder, or ding them dead with awful fire of thunder.
Domine, Doctor, where will ye preach to morn? We will have war, and all the world had sworn. Want we war here, I will go pass in France, where I will get an lordly governance.
So what ye will. I think sure peace is best. Who would have war, God send them little rest. Adieu, cracker. I will no longer tarry. I trust to see thee in a fiery fury. I trust of God to see thee and thy fellows within few days hanging on Copa gallows.
Now art thou gone, the dumb devil be thy guide. Yon briber was so fleet he durst not bide. By wounds and passions, had he spoken more any word, I should have hacked his head off with my sword.
Meanwhile, back with the old man plot, here shall the goodman walk in and cry for Bessie.
My bonny Bessie, where art thou now? My wife is falling on sleep, I trow. Where art thou, Bessie, my own sweet thing, my bonny, my heart, my day's darling? Is there no man that saw my Bess? I trow she be gone to the mass. Bessie, my heart, hearest thou not me? My joy, cry keep wherever thou be. Alas forever, no am I fey, for of her cunt I tint the key. She may call me a jufflin jocker, I swive, I will break the lock.
What now, good man? What would you have?
Nothing, my heart, but you I crave. Ye have been doing some busy work.
My heart, even sewing you a sock of Holland cloth, both white and tough. Let prove if it be wide enough.
It is very right well, my heart.
Oh, I apologise, sorry, I was muted. Here shall she put the shirt over his head, and the fool shall steal in the key again.
It is very right well, my heart. Our Lady, let us never depart. Ye are the fairest of all the flock. Where is the key, Bess, of my lock?
Ye rave, good man, by God's bread. I saw you lay it under your head.
By my good faith, Bess, that is true. After that I suspected you sore, I rue. I trow there be no man in Fife that ever had so good a wife. Mine own sweetheart, I hold it best that we sit down and take us rest.
Now is this not a great despite, that none with me will fight nor flight? Were Goliath into this stead, I doubt not to strike off his head. This is the sword that slew Grey Steel, not half a mile beyond Kinneil. I was that noble champion that slew Sir Buse of Southampton. Hector of Troy, Gawain or Goliath had never half so muckle hardiness.
Here shall the fool come in, as stated earlier, with a sheep head on a staff, and Finlaw shall be fleet.
Well, brave Benedicte, what sight in yon sirs that I see? In nomine Patris et Filii, I trow you, be the spirit of Guy. No, faith, it is the spirit of Marling. or some she-jost of Gar-Carling? Alas, forever, how shall I guide me? God sin, I had a hole to hide me, but I doubt my dead young man has sworn. I trow you be great Gelmancorn. He gapes, he gowers, halt well away! Take all my gear and let me gay. What say ye, sir, would ye have my sword? Yea, marry, shall ye at the first word? My gloves are plat and knapsword too. Your prisoner, I yield me, lo! Take there my purse, my belt and knife. For God's sake, master, save my life. No, now he comes even for to slay me. For God's sake, sirs, now keep him from me. I see not else but take and slow. Well, make me room and let me go.
As for this day, I have no more to say you. On Whitsun Tuesday, come see our play, I pray you. That same day is the 7th day of June. Therefore get up right early and disjune, and ye ladies that has no scant of leather, ere ye come there, fail not to empty your bladder. I dread, ere we have done with our work, that some of you shall make a right wet sark.
And thus ends the advert for the play. Full of random business, some of which may get picked up later on, but much of it just sort of random things. We've got a boasting soldier figure. We've encountered that before and since, who is scared off by a sheep's head on a stick and just basically just standing there going ooh. Yes, we've got a young lady with a presumably older husband who and a chastity belt. And a number of suitors, and yes, she goes off and does some busy work in somewhere else, and we have a husband and wife. The husband wants to go to visit the show, and his wife doesn't want him to. Thoughts from the room about this thing? I'll start with Eric, then Sarah.
I have to say, I did enjoy, the whole thing of there are no toilets. Don't forget to pee before you come.
Yep.
No breaks, no toilet breaks.
Yeah, it is specifically aimed at the women as well, which is an important cultural point there. There's the expectation the men will just go around the corner and just pee against a wall. That sort of expected behaviour, whereas it's something quite different, as mentioned here. Sarah?
I just kind of loved the fact that it was all so random, and it was just like, it was a trailer, because it was like, oh, look, we've got all these different bits. You want broad comedy with a guy running away from a sheep's head? We've got that. You want a bit of carry-on sauce? We've got that. You want a dude being hit by his wife? We've got that. Anything you want. You want to laugh? You come and see our show. And by the way, we start at 7. I just thought it was hilarious. Like it was just like, right, how many different types of bits of comedy can we get in here that's going to appeal to absolutely everybody? Yeah, very effective.
Yes, it's subtle as a brick, really, isn't it? I mean, there really isn't doing subtlety for any of the material here at all. Other thoughts, Stephen? You look like you're mid, almost wanting to wave and come up with something. No, nothing. I'll go to Lois then Eric then.
Yeah, I think this has a cast of thousands, if I remember rightly. But I mean.
Have we lost Lois there? Oh, sorry, Lois. We lost you at the cast of thousands.
Oh dear.
We got you back again.
Oh, I hope this isn't going to keep freezing. This happened once before. Oh dear, my internet connection is unstable apparently. Oh dear, I'll be unstable in a minute too. I was just saying that it looks as if this trailer might be designed to show off, some really good actors, but I don't know, because if this is a huge cast and not necessarily professionals known known to everybody, then it might not have that effect. But it just seemed to be so many little bit parts where somebody could do something with it and add to the attractiveness of the whole thing.
Stephen, then I'll go to Eric.
Well, I thought Eric was first, was he?
Well, I sometimes I just swap it around just to bring in the changes, just to confuse you all, just to keep you on your toes. Stephen.
Well, I don't know anything about this, so I'm really interested as to when it was put together. Does anybody know?
Beyond 1552 is the immediate date for
that's
this.
The thing that I wanted to say really is this seems to me to be the world of the mysteries in terms of the kind of tone and rather than the kind of boy plays, the moral plays, the teachings. It seems to come from that sort of rambunctious street theatre tradition that you can kind of see peeping through the mysteries. And I found it really, really interesting listening to all of that, to think, well, if this is like 1550 and not 1480 or something like that, then one conclusion you could draw from that is there is this whole tradition which carries on, which is kind of invisible because we don't have too many texts with it. It seems so it's basically Lois's point, isn't it? I suppose it's this is actually about the theatre, and Sarah's point, it's about the theatre, whereas we kind of have got stuck sometimes into a very textual sort of approach to it all, and authors and small boys and particular educational establishments, and all this stuff might have just been going on in the fairgrounds the whole time.
Well, just quickly, because I had in the back of my head that it was performed more than once, or at least we have definitely evidence that it was performed at least twice. So it does get performed a couple of years later as well, in a slightly different auspice. It's not just a one-off either. It's something that pops up occasionally. And there are resources online about this play which we can recommend as well. There will be links in the show notes for people who want to dig further, because other people have been here before and have adequately archived their experiences, so you can in fact actually watch performances of this text. It does all exist in wonderful, I don't think Technicolor, but digital format. Alan.
I was just wondering, we haven't actually done anything much that was Scottish origin before now. We've been doing mainly London-based or English-based, and I'm wondering whether we're looking at a slightly different tradition here, which may explain some of the discrepancies and some of the callbacks, as Stephen said, to the much earlier mystery type material.
I have a few thoughts on that, but I'll go to Lois first.
Yeah, I mean, what's awful is that as far as I know, this is the only example of Scottish drama. There must have been other plays. Clearly, this couldn't have come out of nowhere, but I don't think there's anything else.
I believe I know of at least one other text, but nowhere near as extensive, and other little bits and pieces. But yes, it is very thin on the ground north of the border. There's an awful lot of similarities that will emerge probably in this text, as well as differences to things. I mean, there is continuity and there is discontinuity, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the room finds as we go forward. I don't think we've had anything as quite as actively advertising in as dynamic a way as this. We haven't really read the bans for mystery plays in these sessions, because they're just a long list of, and now this happens, and now this happens, and they're really boring. Whereas this is doing something very different in a dynamic and exciting way. Eric, we completely sidelined you. I apologise.
I'll live. I was just going to say that I like the format of there's this sort of, I'm going to go see this play, and then you get this fool coming on with Bessie and the old man, and it's kind of like, is this part of the play? It feels a bit almost panto-esque, like sort of the inappropriate jokes that are made in a panto that kids would never get, except this is much more in your face, non-panto-esque. I don't know. Yeah, it has that sort of vibe. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah, and there's a question actually how in your face it's supposed to be. I mean, we obviously react in a very different way to certain words used in the opening section. I'm not sure what the effect is supposed to be on that. Is that as a rude and explicit as we take it, or was it not? I genuinely don't know the answer on that. Lois.
Yeah, I'm really puzzled by that. Here they shall go to some quiet place. I mean, what on earth does that mean about the the obvious love affair that is going on rather briefly? Is it really in some part of the stage, or do they just disappear?
I assume it just means they go off stage, but hit some quiet place. Do they make some noise in this quiet place? Alan.
What I pictured was there's a hedgerow at the back of the stage as part of the set, and maybe a few of the twigs start bouncing up and down.
Anyway, we should dive into the play itself. We've just done the advert, basically. Yeah. We'll see if there's any meaningful connection between the two. An Satire of the Three Estates is split into two parts, as it were. So part one, we don't have that many stage directions giving us entrances and exits. We do have a reasonable number of stage directions, but they're not exhaustive. So we open with Diligence, the messenger, as it's glossed in one version I'm staring at. I'm looking at lots of different versions at the moment. Anyway, Diligence comes on and starts the play.
The father and founder of sooth and felicity, that your fashion formed to his similitude, and his son, our saviour, shield in necessity, that brought you from Baal's ransom rude, repledging his prisoners with his heart blood, the Holy Ghost, governor and grounder of grace, of wisdom and welfare, both fountain and flood, give you all that I see seated in this place, and shield you from sin. And with his spirit you inspire, till I have shown my desire. Silence, sovereign, I require, for now I begin.
And the script does indeed have pause marked there.
Take tent to me, my friends, and hold you coy, for I am sent to you as messenger from a noble and right redoubted Roy, the while hath been absent this many year. Humanity, if ye his name would speer, who bade me show to you but variance, that he intends among you to compeer with an triumph and awful ordinance, with crown and sword and sceptre in his hand, temperate with mercy when penitence appears. Howbeit that he long time hath been sleepend, where through misrule hath rung there many years. That innocence has been brought on their biers by false reporters of this nation, though young oppressors at the elder leers, be now assured of reformation. See no misdoers be so bold as to remain unto this hold, for why by him that Judas sold they will be high hanged. Now faithful folk for joy may sing, for why it is the just bidding of my sovereign lord the king, that no man be wronged. Though he and while unto his floors be governed by vile trumpers, and sometime love his paramours, hold ye him excused. For when he meets with correction, with verity and discretion, they will be banished off the town which has him abused. And here by open proclamation, I warn in name of his magnificence the three estates of this nation, that they compare with deceitful diligence, and to his grace make their obedience. And first I warn the spirituality, and see the burgesses spare not for expense, but speed them here with temporality. As I beseech you, famous auditors, convened in this congregation, to be patient the space of certain hours, till ye have heard our short narration. And as we make you supplication, that no man take our words unto disdain, although ye hear by declamation the common weal right piteously complain. Right so the virtuous lady Verity will make an piteous lamentation, as for the truth she will imprisoned be, and banished long time out of the town. And chastity will make narration how she can get no lodging in this land, till that the heavenly king correction meet with the king and common hand for hand. Prudent people, I pray you all, take no man grief in special, for we shall speak in general, for pastime and for play. Therefore, till all our rhymes be rung and our mistuned songs be sung, let every man keep well and tongue, and every woman tway.
O Lord of lords, and King of kings all, omnipotent of power, prince but peer, ever ring and in glory celestial, who be great might and having no matter, made heaven and earth, fire, air, and water clear. Send me thy grace with peace perpetual, that I may rule my realm to thy pleasure. Sin bring my soul to joy evangelical, sin thou hast given me domination and rule of people subject to my cure. Be I not rule it by counsel and reason in dignity, I may not long endure. I grant my state, myself may not assure, nor yet conserve my life in sickness. Have pity, Lord, on me, thy creature. Support and me in all my business. I thee request who rent was on the rood, me to defend from the deeds of defame. That my people report of me but good, and by my safeguard both from sin and shame. I know my days endures but as a dream. Therefore, O Lord, I heartily thee exhort to give me grace to use my diadem to thy pleasure and to my great comfort.
Here shall the king pass to royal seat and sit with a grave countenance till wantonness come.
Right, sovereign lord and prince but peer, what cause you make such dreary cheer? Be blithe so long as ye're here, and pass time with pleasure. For as long lives the merry man as the sorry, for aught he can, his bands full saucer shall I ban that does you displeasure. So long as placebo and I remains unto your company, your grace shall live right merrily. Of this have ye no doubt, so long as ye have us in cure. Your grace, sir, shall want no pleasure. With solace here, are you assured? He would rejoice this rout.
Good brother mine, where is solace, the mirror of all merriness? I have great marvel by the mass. He tarries so long. Why do away we are but shent? I fairly how he froze went. I trow he is impediment that lets him not hang.
I left solace, that same great alone, drinking into the borough's town. It cost him half a crown, although he had no more. And as he said, he would gang see fair lady, sensuality, the burial of all beauty, and portraiture préclaire.
By God, I see him at the last, as he were chased running right fast. He glowers even as he were aghast or faint of a ghost. Nah, he's wood drunken, I trow. See ye not that he's wooed foul. I ken well by his greasy mouth he has been at a feast.
Now who saw ever such an throng? Methought some said I had gone wrong. Had I help, I would sing and song with an right merry noise. I have such pleasure at my heart that gars me sing the treble part. Would some good fellow fill the court, it would my heart rejoice. Howbeit my coat be short and nipped, thanks be to God I am well hipped, though all my gold may soon be gripped into an penny purse. I thought I any serving long have been, my purchase is not worth an preen. I may sing pebbles on the green, for aught that I may terse. What is my name? Can ye not guess? Sirs, can ye not Sandy Celeste? They called my mother Bonnie Bess, that dwelt between the bows. A 12-year-old, she learned to swive. Thanks be the great God on live. She made me father. 4 is 4 or 5. But I doubt this is no news. When one was dead, she got another. Was never man had such a mother? Of father is she made me any further? Of lawmen, laureate men, and learned. She is both wise, worthy, and white, for she spares neither cook nor night. Yea, 24 on any night, and in their eyes she bleared. And if I lie, sir, ye may spear. But saw ye not the king come here? I am a sporter and a playfair unto that royal young king. He said he would within short space come pass his time into this place. I pray the Lord to send him grace, that he long time may ring.
Solus, why tarried ye so long?
A fiend, a faster I might gang. I might not thrust out through the thrang of wise 15 further. Then for to run I took an rink, but I never felt such an stink. For our Lord's love, give me and drink. Placebo, my dear brother.
My servant Solus, what got you tarry?
I wait not, sir, sweet St. Mary. I have been in a fairy, or else into an trance. Sir, I've seen you ashore, the fairest earthly creature that ever was formed by nature, and most for to advance. To look on her is great delight, with lips red and cheeks white. I would renounce all this world quite, for to stand in her grace. She is wanton and she is wise, and clad she is on the new guise. It would garl your flesh uprise, to look upon her face. Were I and king it should be kenned, I should not spare on her to spend, and this same night for her to send, for my pleasure. What rake of your prosperity, if ye want sensuality? I would not give an silly fly for your treasure.
Forsooth, my friends, I think ye are not wise to counsel me to break commandment directed by the Prince of Paradise, considering ye know that my intent is for to be to God obedient, which does forbid men to be lecherous. Do I not so? Perchance I will repeat. Therefore I think your counsel odious, the which ye gave me till, because I have been to this day tanquam tabula rasa, that is as mickle as to say, ready for good and ill.
Believe ye that we will beguile you, or from your virtue we will wile you, or with evil counsel oversile you? Well, for both in the good and evil. To take your grace's part we grant, in all your deeds participant, so that ye be not an young saint and sin an old devil.
Believe ye, sir, that lechery be sin? Yea, trow not that. This is my reason why. First, at the Roman Kirk will ye begin, which is the lemon lamp of lechery, where cardinals and bishops generally to love ladies they think in pleasant sport. Out of Rome has banished chastity, who with our prelates can get no resort.
Sir, while ye guess and prudent queen, I think your majesty serene should have an lusty concubine to play you withal. For I know by your quality ye want the gift of chastity. Fall to in nomine domins. This is my counsel. I speak, sir, under protestation, that none at me have indignation, for all the prelates of this nation, for the most part. They think no shame to have an whore, and some have 3 under their cure. This to be true, I'll you assure, ye shall hear afterward. Sir, knew all the matter through, to play ye would begin. Ask at the monks of Barinach, if lechery be sin.
Sir, send ye for Sandy Solus, or else your minion wantonness, and pray my lady prioress the sooth to declare, if it be sin to take Katie, or to live like an Bummel Beatty, the book says omnia probate, and it's not for to spare.
Okay, we'll pause there as we're suddenly in much more familiar territory. I am an important figure who is possibly representative of some staff after some people come in and go, oh, let me tempt you. No, I will not be tempted. It'll be fine. Everybody's at it. Everybody's doing the thing that we're trying to push you to do. You can sort of see where this tale might be going. I say yes, we've been here before with many morality plays, and that's a very different energy. I mean, that opening speech by Diligence is a totally different energy to the advert. I think if I'd seen the advert and the play started like this, I'd be going, oh crap. These are not the droids you're looking for. Alan.
One thing that struck me going through that sequence we've just done is that it all seems to be actually written in quatrains. And the fact that the way we got the script format without a break between each bunch of four was making it slightly difficult to spot where the rhyme scheme was going.
They are indented, though. Occasionally it isn't.
Occasionally, yeah.
No, but the almost all of them, anything, they're indented. They're indented.
On a cold read, I just hadn't spotted them in time.
Yes, Lois.
Well, they're more varied rhymes than that. I mean, the last ones that we were reading are what, AAAB, CCCB, aren't they?
Yes, it does dance around a little bit.
Yeah. I'm wondering whether, I mean, I assume that Bamir Noch is a real place, and that there seem to be quite a lot of references to real places. I can't see why else he would say, ask the monks of this place if lechery be sin. I mean, this is clearly a dig at a very specific monastery.
Yeah, it's reminding me of the kind of references you'll get in a Hayward, where they'll talk about specific places that have a reputation for a specific thing. Or sometimes a sort of generic reference for something that may not be specific, but just seems specific because of time. I'm assuming that's a very specific real place. I think you're absolutely right. Eric?
Oh, didn't we also get, I think it was Famous Victories, where we had the whole, like, sort of monks hiding a nun in a box or something. Because they didn't.
Troublesome Rain, I think, was the
yeah, it's one of the two. I keep confusing the two because they're equally weird in some ways. Also, I did enjoy the words like Bummelbaity or Katie it's just expanding sort of my vocabulary, I guess.
Yeah, Stephen's putting something in the chat on that at the moment. Stephen, would you like to expand on Bummelbaity as it's spelt here?
Well, I've no idea, but it reminded me of Bum Bailey or Bum Bailiff, which we find in the English texts, which basically means that arsehole bailiff. So I wonder. I couldn't find the Bummelbaity in the OED, but I could find Bum Bailey.
Yeah, it's been rather modestly glossed in the Penguin edition as booby. As a booby.
You, sir, are a booby.
Yes, which I suspect is possibly a little modest. Lois.
I've just noticed in the line after that, it's really quite blasphemous. I mean, it says the book, meaning the Bible, says omnia probate, and I think that is, I think it's from St. Paul somewhere. Try all things. I can't remember the precise context, but anyway, this is, of course, it's a vice that's saying this, but it's a good example of the devil citing scripture and so on.
Yeah, we've got these various vices saying, look, it's fine. Look at all these priests enjoying sex, so you should have some sex too. That would be good. And Solace is described as sort of basically entering with his mouth just covered in grease from eating and drinking, etc. Eric?
I'm just wondering how high the standards were for, like, because they go, yes, sort of lady sensuality, sort of the fairest you ever saw, and then you could either take it like literally or just go the other extreme, and have them sort of I don't know, missing teeth kind of thing, or I don't know. I think it depends on how you play that. But I mean, you could sort of go, yes, this is the most beautiful woman on earth, or yeah.
I'm going to suggest that they're going to offer the best of all possible worlds in terms of their temptations here. I suspect that's where they're going with this. Rex Humanitas, I fully expect to be given all the joys of the universe. Any other thoughts? I say, anyone disappointed by the appearance of Diligence at the beginning, or for that matter, of the nature of Rex Humanitas, who's gets to sit in a lovely throne, and again we get this sort of compartmentalized sense of where the staging is and where things are happening. That the king's going to pass on a royal seat till Wantonness come, but Wantonness and Placebo, etc., all doing business, and then they go to him. So presumably there are different scaffolds or places where these areas are, and you travel between them. Sarah.
No, I mean, the only thing I thought was what you said right at the beginning. It's like, oh my God, I've been lured here under false pretenses. That's what I'd be thinking if I was in the audience, because you see this great trailer, and then you turn up and there's just 15 minutes of pontificating. And I can imagine that when Wantonness and Solace and the rest of them turn up, the audience members are like, oh yeah, great, here we go. This is where it gets funny. But it doesn't really. I mean, it kind of does. There's you can imagine that they rollick on and they start getting the audience going with their stories and whatnot. But nothing really actually happens. And if there's one thing about the trailer, it was absolutely incident packed. Whereas this is just basically, these is basically the vice figures in a morality play coming in and doing their stuff. So it's like, I can imagine I'd be, probably pissing myself at this point, but not in a good way. I'd have drunk too much before I came in, and I'd be like, I need to leave now because I've got a full bladder. Just gonna go now. Bye. Get me out of here.
Well, maybe sensuality will save it for you. Lois.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is how nearly all of those morality plays begin. And I would imagine if there is any tradition of this kind of play before, I mean, for all I know, Lindsay may have invented the Scottish morality play, but I would think that there probably was something like it before, in which case everybody go, oh yeah, the typical opening, we'll just sort of sit here until something good happens.
Yeah, the energy of that advert, as it were, is much more folk play than it is morality play. It feels like it's feeding off a different tradition. It's an interesting question: are they effectively produced by the same people, or are they produced by something different? I'm curious. About those differences, but also potential similarities, because we're still quite early in the text, so who knows? Eric.
I'm just wondering, was it still considered, like, at the time north of the border, a sort of bad practice to have men playing women's roles, or was it sort of was it bad practice for women to play women's roles, or
Well, it's difficult at this particular point to necessarily say that there's any meaningful issue yet, because we don't have fully professional companies. That's where you really get into trouble. It's a slightly slippery in the sense of a certain absence of evidence going on here. But probably played by boys. But who knows? Roughly. Lois.
Yeah, I was just thinking one other point, because Eric brought up the business about the jokes about lascivious monks and so on, and the difference between this and the Troublesome Reign is that this is pre-Reformation. The Reformation is only just coming to Scotland, whereas of course the Troublesome Reign is post-Reformation, and so it's taking a much stronger line on it.
Yes, this is the thing to remember. When evil people say things, they don't necessarily. It doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's true, but that doesn't mean that's what the play is saying. He said at this stage. Let's see where it goes. So we've had lots of people on stage. Most of them are now having to be read by various readers. Now going to have to swap hats for people who are other people who will now take most of the dialogue. But the other people who were still on may still be on, so maybe different voices may be necessary. We'll see how this goes. Anyway, at this point, entering to this sort of general area at some place, or maybe a different area of the space, enter sensuality, homeliness, and danger.
Lovers walk, behold the fiery sphere, behold the natural daughter of Venus, behold lovers, this lusty lady clear, the fresh fountain of night is amorous, replete with joys dulce and delicious. Or who would make to Venus observance? In my mirthful charmer melodious, there shall they find all pastime and pleasance. Behold my head, behold my gay attire, behold my half loosened and lily white, behold my visage flaming as the fire, behold my paps of portraiture perfect, to look on me lovers have great delight. Right so has all the kings of Christendom, to them I have done pleasures infinite, and especially unto the court of Rome. And kiss of me were worth in the morning 1,000,000 of gold to knight or king. And yet I am of nature so toward, I let no lover pass within sore heart. But my name would you wit the verity, forsooth. They call me sensuality. I hold it best now, or we father gang, to Dame Venus, let us go sing and song.
Adam, tarrying, for to serve Venus dear, we shall fall to and sing. Sister Danger, come near.
Sister, I was not swear to Venus observance, howbeit I make danger, yet by continuance men may have their pleasance. Therefore let no man fray, we will take it perchance, howbeit that we say nay.
Sister, come on your way, and let us not think long, in all the haste we may, to sing Venus and song.
Sister, sing this song I may not without the help of good Fun Janet. Fun Janet, oh, come take a part.
Enter Fun Janet.
That will I do with all my heart. Sister, howbeit that I am his, I am content to bear a base. Ye twa should love me as your life. You know I learned you both to swine. In my chamber, yet well you will wear, since in the fiend and man he spare.
And Johnny, fie, ye are to blame, to speak foul words, think ye not shame?
There is 100 here sitting by that loves a gaping as well as I. Might they get it in privity? But who begins the song? Let's see.
Up, wantonness. Thou sleepst too long. Methought I heard a merry song. Aye, the command in haste to gang. See what yon mirth may mean.
I trow, sir, by the Trinity, yon same is sensuality. If she be soon, shall I see that sovereign serene.
Though still using the Fon Jonnet voice, that was just wantonness, just for the listeners at home.
Damn it!
There was a song there which wasn't indicated, so they did sing a song which Rex Humanitas goes, ooh. So wantonness sees them and they come again to the king.
What were they yon to me declare?
Dame sensual, both good and fair.
Sir, she is mickle to advance, for she can both play and dance. That perfect patron of pleasance and pearl of pulchritude. Soft as a silk is her white lyre. Her hair is like the golden wire. My heart burns in a flame of fire. I swear you by the rood, I think she's so wonder fair that in earth she has no compare. Were ye well learned at love's lamp, and then had once her seen, I wait by cock's passion, he would make supplication and spend on her 1,000,000 her love for to obtain.
say ye, sir, are ye content that she comes here incontinent? What fails your kingdom and your rent, and all your great treasure? Without ye have a merry life, and cast aside all sturt and strife, and so long as ye wanton wife, fall to and take your pleasure.
If that be true which ye me tell, I will no longer tarry, but will gang prove that play my sell, albeit the world me weary, as fast as ye may carry, speed with all diligence, bring sensuality fra hand to my presence. Forsooth, I wait not how it stands, but sin I heard of your tithans, my body trembles, feet and hands, and while is hot as fire, I trow Cupido with his dart hath wounded me up through the heart. My spirit will from my body part. Get I not my desire? Pass on, away with diligence, and bring her here to my presence. Spare not for travel nor expense, I care not for no cost. Pass on your way, soon wantonness, and take with you sandy solace, and bring that lady to this place, or else I am but lost. Commend me to that sweetest thing, and present her with this same ring, and say I lie in languishing, except she make remedy. With sighing soul, I am but shent, without she come incontinent, my heavy languor to relent, and save me now from debt.
Or ye took scathe by God's gown, I leave her, they were not up, not down, and tomb cunt into this town, not 20 mile about. Doubt ye not, sir, we will get her. We shall be fairy for to fetch her, but faith, we would speed all the better to gar our purses rout.
Sir, let no sorrow in you sink, but give us ducats for to drink, and we shall never sleep and wink till we be back or bed edge. Ye ken well, sir, we have no money.
Solace, sure that shall be no sunny, bear ye that bag upon your lunny, now serves, win well your wage. I pray you speed you soon again.
Ye of this sang, sir, we are fain, we shall neither spare wind nor rain till our day's work be done. Farewell, for we are at the flight. Placebo, rule our right, we shall be here, man, ere midnight, though we march with the money. Pastime with pleasance and great prosperity be to you, sovereign sensuality.
For indeed they've departed singing merrily, and they've travelled to sensuality. So again, this is one of those things with travelling from one area to another. That seems to be going on a lot.
Sirs, you are welcome. Where go ye? East or west?
In faith I trout we be at the farthest.
What is your name, I pray you, sir, declare?
Marry, wantonness, the king's secretary.
What king is that which has so gay a boy?
Humanity, that right redoubted Roy, which does commend him to you heartfully, and sends you here and ring with a ruby, in taking that above all creature he has chosen you to be his paramour. He bade me say that he will be but dead, without that ye may make hastily remed.
How can I help him, although he should forfare? Ye can right well, I am no medicinaire.
Yes, lusty lady, though he were ne'er so sick, I wait to bear his health into your break, and kiss of your sweet mouth in the morning, to his sickness might be great comforting. And as he makes you supplication this night, to make with him collation.
I thank his grace of his benevolence. Good sirs, I shall be ready even from hand. In me there shall be found no negligence, both night and day, when his grace will command. Pass ye before, and say I'm coming, then thinks right long to have of him in sight. And I to Venus do make unfaithful band, then in his arms I think to lie all night.
That shall be done. But yet I o'er home pass. Here I protest for homeliness. your lass.
She shall be coming, sir, when you will. I trust she shall find you flinging your fill.
Whoa, now, hey, for joy and mirth I dance. Take there and gay gammon of France. Am I not worthy to advance that I'm so good a page, and that so speedily can run to tist my master into sin? The fiend a penny he will win of this his marriage. I rue, right so by Saint Michel, but nor I had pierced here mine own self, for why yon king by bride is bell kens no more of an cunt than does the novice of a friar. It were but arms to pull my ear, I would not prove yon gallant gear. Oh, if I that I am so blunt, I think this day to win great thank. Hey, as a bridal cat I brank. Oh, alas, I've rested me shank. Yet I gang by Saint Michael, which of my legs, sir, as ye trow, was it that I did hurt even now? But where should I ask it you? I think they both are hail. Good morrow, master, by the mass.
And yes, at the end of that long speech of wantonness, presumably some travelling was going on. Maybe sensuality is changing, getting into her attire. Seems like that's covering something there. Lois.
Yeah, there's obviously some sort of business. I mean, I think he's dancing, and then he pretends that he's hurt one leg, and then he shows that he hasn't. I mean, I don't know exactly what's going on, but there's clearly something.
Yeah, I'd say that I'm just assuming that they're setting up sensuality here as well and getting sensuality ready, and that there is an element of padding. If depending on how far apart the various stage areas are, and how far you have to do. So Rex Humanitas, I don't know whether they've just brought up an online dating app image or something and just going, oh yeah, yes, there's no doubt which direction he's going to be swiping on that one. But yeah, he's quite keen. It has to be said. Thoughts in the room, Sarah?
I think there must have been tons of physical business going on in the bit that preceded the King's change of heart, because there was kind of no in between. One minute he was sort of all godly, and the next minute he was like, "Oh my God, get her here now!" So yeah, I think maybe a picture. Also, I mean, the song, but it must have been a very powerful song. I'm thinking maybe some drinking has been involved. When the wantonness and sensuality and Janet, whatever her name was, we're doing some kind of pouring wine down him or whatever. Because yeah, I think there was probably just a whole lot of stuff going on stage during that just didn't really come across. And well, it's hinted at in the text, but I think you'd have to absolutely make the most of that.
Yeah, you must send for her. Meanwhile, the sort of waking up sensuality. The song happens. You've still got Placebo and Solace going, go on, go on, go on, go on, go on. But yeah, there isn't quite that sense of build up that probably actually in performance it has, or could have. But we've had plenty of morality plays where people just suddenly change their mind. That's usually it's the other direction. To be fair, it's not. The falling to sin sometimes takes slightly more persuading, but not always. Not always. Other thoughts, Eric, and then Stephen.
Yeah, it is kind of like you kind of expect that sensuality has special. Well, I mean, maybe not back then, but nowadays you would have special lighting, special music, and just sort of add lusty vibes as well and that kind of thing. I don't know. It just feels very hello boys. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, I think absolutely. I mean, I'm interested in what is the difference between wantonness and sensuality. Because as I say, wantonness is sort of acting as the panda here, and sensuality is obviously the actual sin that they're falling to, and the slight variations of what's going on between solace and placebo are precisely what they're representing there as well, and how that works and how that's represented. Stephen.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't help but think of sort of a carry-on film, that the king is somebody like Sid James, and he's just caught sight of something outside the window or something like that, which makes me wonder if this, we were sort of going, where's the girls, where's the drink, where's the festivity? And it's just a kind of extended sort of shaggy dog thing to get us thinking that the play's going in one direction when actually it's been like, it's back to the prologue. So I wonder about this idea of it falling into sin, so much as they've given us a sort of a simulacrum, a fake version of a morality play, and now it's all just fallen to pieces and we're back in another world. It'd be interesting to see which direction it goes in.
Eric.
I was going to say the difference between wantonness and sensuality is that sensuality is freelance, whereas wantonness works for the king, or seems to.
Well, inveigles themselves into the court. Yes. Let's gather more data, I think, because wantonness, I think that's where we stopped. Yes, so wantonness, having finished dancing and etc., has walked to the king and said good morrow. Let's see what the king, etc., says in response.
Welcome, my minion wantonness. How hast thou sped in thy travel?
Right well, by him that harried hell. Your errand is well done.
Then wantonness, how well is me? Thou hast deserved both meat and fee by him that made thee money. There is a thing that I would spare. Or what shall I do when she comes here? For I know not the craft pequare of lover's gin. Therefore at length ye mun me lare how to begin.
To kiss and clap her, be not afeard. She will not shrink, though ye kiss her and span within the band. Bed. And if ye think that she thinks shame, then hide the bairns in with her tail and rent her well. You know what I mean? Will you leave me, sir, first for to go to, and shall I learn you all the cues how to do?
God forbid, wantonness, that I give thee leave. Thou art over perilous a page such practice to prove.
Oh, now, sir, prove as ye please. I see her come, and use yourself gravely. We shall by you stand.
Here shall sensuality come to the king and say,
O Queen Venus, unto thy solicitude I give glory, honor, laud, and reverence, who granted me such perfect pulchritude, that princes of my person of pleasance I make and vow with humble observance right reverently thy temple to visit, with sacrifice unto thy deity. To every state I am so agreeable that few or none refuse me at all, popes, patriarchs, or prelates venerable. Common people and princes temporal are subject all to me, Dame Sensuality. So shall it be I while the world endures, and especially where youth has the cures. Who knows the contrary? I trust few in this company. Would they declare the verity how they use sensuality? But with me makes repair. And now my way, I'm man advance unto a prince of great puissance, whom young men has in governance, rolling into his rage. I'm right glad you assure the potent prince to getting cure, which is of lustiness the lure, and greatest of courage.
Here shall she make reverence and say,
O potent prince of pulchritude, declare, God Cupido preserve your solicitude. And Dame Venus would keep your court for care, as I would she should keep my own heart blood.
Welcome to me, peerless in pulchritude. Welcome to me, thou sweeter nor the lammer, which has made me of all dolor denuded. Solace, convoy this lady to my chamber.
Here shall she pass to the chamber and say,
Gang this gate well with right goodwill. Sir, wanting us stir ye still, and hailing us the captive, use fill and bear him company. That shall I do without and doubt, and he and I shall play about.
You thought you were alone, but no, wantonness has come with you. Or is off stage doing something.
Right. Now, lady, lend me that batty tout. Fill in, for I'm dry. Your dame by this truly has gotten upon the gums. What rack thought ye and I go join our jousting lumps?
Content I am with goodwill, whene'er ye are ready, your pleasure to fulfil.
Now, well said, my lady. I'll bait my master company to that I may endure. If ye be whistling wantonly, we shall fling upon the floor.
And here now they all pass into the chamber, at which point we get introduced to some new characters. So, Good Counsel comes in and says,
Immortal God, most of magnificence, whose majesty no clerk can comprehend, must save you all that gives such audience, and grant you grace him never to offend, which on the cross did willing lie ascend, and shed his precious blood on every side, whose piteous passion from danger you defend, and be your gracious governor and guide. Now, my good friends, consider I you beseek the cause most principal of my coming. Princes or potestates are not worth and leak, be they not guided by my good governing. There was never emperor, conqueror, nor king without my wisdom that might their will advance. My name is Good Counsel without feigning. Lords, for lack of my lair, are brought to mischance. Finally, for conclusion, who holds me at delusion shall be brought to confusion. And this I understand, for I have made my residence with high princes of great puissance in England, Italy, and France, and many other lands. But out of Scotland, woe, alas, I have been fleemet long time space. That guards our guiders all want grace and die before their day, because they lightly at good counsel. Fortune turned on them her sail, which brought this realm to mickle bale. Who can the contrary say? My lords, I came not here to lie. Was me for King Humanity, overset with sensuality, in the entry of his ring. Throw vicious counsel insolent, so they may get riches of rent. To his welfare they take no tent, nor shall be the ending. Yet in this realm I would make some repair, if I believed my name should not forfare, for this king be guided with reason, and on misdoers make punition. Howbeit I have long time been exiled, I trust in God my name shall yet be styled. So till I see God send more of his grace, I purpose to repose me in this place.
I'm just going to pause there at the entrance of Good Counsel. So we've had sexy times, as it were, or at least the setup of sexy times, and then we get Good Counsel coming in, like the opening of the play. Someone comes in who's clearly good, but has been banished in this allegoricalness of things. Good Counsel has been banished out of Scotland. Because of all these bad counsellors, these bad people, these problematic people standing around King Humanity. Any thoughts from the room, Lois?
The style here, I don't know if we've had it in the English plays or not, but it's, I think, what they call the aureate style, with words like pulchritude and preclaire and so on. It's very Latinate, and you get it in the Scottish Chaucerians. It's it's a special style reserved for, well, particularly religious language. And I think only the good characters are going to talk like that.
I think it does pop up occasionally, but I don't. I think the pomposity is usually denoted in a slightly different way. Sorry, I didn't mean it like that.
It's not really
the nature of this kind of character being terribly good, speaking in a certain fashion. Yeah. Good counsel, bless. Turning up, too late. Other thoughts in the room. No, everyone's good. Everyone's happy. Shall we go into the final furlong of this session? Because we've got good counsel coming in, but no, got to have an antagonist here to get in the way. Here enters Flattery, new landed out of France, and Stormist at the May.
Make room, sirs, ho! That I may run, lo, see where I am you come, begarried all with sundry hues. Let be your din till I begin, and I shall show you of my news. Throughout all Christendom I have passed, and am come here now at the last, tossed on sea, I, sin Yule day. But we were fain to hew our mast, not half a mile beyond the bay. But now among you I will remain. I purpose never to sail again. To put my life in chance of water was never seen such wind and rain, nor shipmen such clitter-clatter. Some bade hail and some bade stand by, on starboard, ho, alive, fie. But all the raps beguileth to rattle, was never Roy so flayed as I, when all the sails played brittle. To see the waves it was a wonder, and wind that raved the sails in sunder. But I lay breaking like a brook, and shot so fast above and under, the devil durst not come near my dock. Now am I escaped from that affray? What say ye, sirs? Am I not gay? Say ye not Flattery, your own fool, that went to make this new array? Was I not here with you at Yule? Yes, by my faith, I think on well. Where are my fellows that would not fail? We should now have come here for a cast. Ho, Fawcett, ho!
Enter Fawcett.
Why, Sarah the devil, who is it that cries for me so fast?
Why, Fawcett, brother, knowest thou not me? Am I not thy brother Flattery?
Now, welcome by the Trinity, this meeting comes for good. Now let me press thee in my arms. When friends meet, hearts warms. Quoth Jock, that freely flowed, how happened you unto this place?
Now, by my soul, even on a chase, I come in sleeping at the port, ere ever I wist among this sort. Where is Deceit, that Limmerlown?
Oh, I left him drinking in the town. He will be here incontinent.
Now, by the holy sacrament, thy tiding is comforts all my heart. I wait Deceit will take my part. He is right crafty as he can, and counsellor to the merchant men. Let us lie down here both and spy, if we perceive him coming by.
Enter Deceit.
Stand by the gates that I may steer. I say, Cogsboats, how came I here? I cannot miss to take some fear into so great and throng. Marry, here's a comely congregation. Where are ye, sirs, all of our nation? Masters, I speak by protestation, in dread ye take me wrong. Can ye not, sirs? What is my name? Good faith, I dare not show it for shame. Sin I was cleckit of my dame, yet was I never loyal. For Katie Unsell was my mother, common thief, my father, brother. Of such friendship I had an thither, howbeit I cannot steal, but yet I will borrow and lend, as by my clothing ye may ken. That I have come of noblemen, and as I will debate that quarrel with my feet and hands, and I dwell among the merchants, my name give any man demands, they call me deceit. Bonjour, brother, with all my heart. Here I am come to take your part, both into good and evil. I met good counsel, by the way, who put me in an felon fray. I'll give him to the devil.
Oh, how scaped ye, I pray ye tell.
I slipped into a brothel and hid me in a bawburd's bed. Suddenly, a shanks I shed with such hock hurling among our house, God wait if we made many mouse. How came ye here? I pray you tell me.
Marry, to seek King Humanity.
Now, by the good lady that me bear, that same horse is my own mare. Now, with our purpose, let us meddle. What is your counsel? I pray you tell. Since we three seeks yon noble king, let us devise some subtle thing. And as I pray you, as my brother, that we ill can be true to other, I make and vow, with all my heart, in good and evil, to take your part. I pray to God, nor I be hanged, but I shall die, or ye be wronged.
What is thy counsel that we do? And I would guess that deceit actually answers him, but I'll happily say the rest of this. Marry, sirs, this is my counsel, lo, to take our time while we may get it. For now that is no man to let it. From time the king begin to stir him. Marry, good counsel, I dread, come near him. And be we known with correction, it will be our confusion. Therefore, my dear brother, devise to find some toy of the new guise.
Marry, I shall find 1,000 wiles. We man turn our clothes and change our styles and disguise us, that no man ken us. Has no man clerk's clothing to lend us? And let us keep grave countenance, as we were new come out of France.
Now, by my soul, that is well devised. Ye shall see me soon, disguised.
And so shall I, man, by the rood. Now, some good fellow, lend me a hood.
And here shall flattery help his two companions.
Now am I bust, and who can spy the devil stick me, if this be I? Or this be I or not, I cannot well say. Or has the fiend or fairy folk borne me away?
And if my hair were up in a how, the fiend a man would ken me, I trow. What says thou of my gay garment?
I say thou looks even like a loon. Now, brother Flattery, what do ye? What kind of man shape ye to be?
Now, by my faith, my brother dear, I will gang counterfeit the friar.
The friar? Where to? Ye cannot preach.
What rack, man? I can right well fleech. Perchance I'll come to that honour to be the king's confessor. Pure friars are free at any feast, and marshalled I among the best, as God to has lent them such graces that bishops puts them in their places. Outthrow their diocese to preach, but fairly not howbeit they fleech, for show they all the verity, they'll want the bishop's charity. And though the corn were ne'er so scant, the good wives will not let friars want. For why? They are their confessors, their heavenly prudent counselors. Therefore the wives plainly take their parts, and shows the secrets of their hearts to friars, with better will, I trow, nor they do to their bedfellow.
And I rest any in friar's cowl betwixt St. Johnston and Kinnell. I shall gang fetch it, if you will tarry.
Now play me of that company. Ye saw him not this 100th year that better can counterfeit the friar.
Here is thy gaining all and some. This is a cowl of Tullylum.
Who has a poor town's for to lend me? The fiend and soul, I trow, will ken me.
Now, gang thy way wherever thou will, thou must be fallow to Friar Gill. But with correction, if we be kenned, I dread we make a shameful end.
Oh, for that matter, I dread nothing. Friars are exempted from the king, and friars will ready entries get when lords are holding at the gate.
Yea, man, do more yet, by St. James, for we mun all three change our names. Hafe me, and I shall baptize thee.
By God, thereabout may it be. How wilt thou call me, I pray thee tell?
I wait not how to call myself.
Yet once name the bairn's name.
Discretion in God's name.
I need not now to care for thrift. But what shall be my God-beared gift?
I give you all the devils of hell.
Yea, brother, hold that to the cell. Now sit down, let me baptize thee. I wait not what thy name should be.
But yet once name the bairn's name.
Sapiens, in a world's shame.
Brother Deceit, come, baptize me.
But then sit down lowly on the knee.
Now, brother, name the bairn's name.
Devotion, in the devil's name.
The devil resave the leaden lown. Thou hast wet all my new-shaven crown.
Devotion, sapience, and discretion. We three may rule this region, but we shall find many crafty things for to beguile 100 kings. For thou can right well crack and clatter, and I shall feign, yea, and thou shalt flatter.
But I would have, or we departed, a drink to make us better-hearted.
And now the king's going to come from his chamber, but we're just going to do a little bit more from Deceit before we go to the king, and then we'll pause.
Well said by him that harried hell. I was even thinking that myself. Now, till we get to the king's presence, we will sit down and keep silence. I see, and yonder, whatever be, I would my life yon same is he. Fear not, brother, hold you still, till we have heard what is his will.
But we're going to pause before we go to the king, as we have, I believe, reached the allotted end of our session in terms of how much text we're going to do. I don't have it in my script, but I think there is a word break written next, so that's the direction. So, having sent the king off with a whole series of vices, the stage is then reinvigorated by 3 more vices. I'm doing a vice count of 7. I don't know if that's a significant number, whether we've got more vices to come, but it does feel like they've ordered in a coach load of all the different vices. So the king's off indulging in sort of all the sort of, shall we say, the personal vices, whereas now we're getting ones which may be getting in the way of statecraft, shall we say. But yeah, another set of vices come in, and I don't know who's been playing at home with the interlude bingo cards that I haven't actually got around to making yet. But yes, we have disguises and we have new names for the vices, whereas the earlier vices are not pretending to be anything other than what they are. Here we have definite. Let's go through. What's my new name? I love the whole baptism thing. I think that's give me my new name. Really interesting questions about where the author's views on religion lies here, because I'm really interested about what this text is doing. Of course, you can be anti certain abuses of the clergy and not and still be wholly Catholic, as it were. It's a complex time, but yeah, doing interesting things. Lois.
Yeah, I'm just wondering where this liquid comes from, because they obviously, someone says you've got me wet. I thought at one point if they were parodying a baptism, they could be using beer, but on the other hand, they just said they needed a drink. So I don't know, where is this coming from?
From one of the audience, perhaps. Maybe they just nick a drink from anyone's stand, because we've already had injunctions that the audience shouldn't drink too much liquid. So maybe they've all brought bottles.
Yeah, certainly. If this were the Globe, they'd grab somebody's bottled water, I'm sure. And that's the same kind of trick. Yeah.
Eric.
I was just going to ask, relating to that, I guess, but Actual, I was going to ask because I got distracted. Yeah, sort of how this is 7 sins on the 7th day of June on at 7 a.m. or p.m. or whatever. It's a bit too much. Yeah.
I hadn't connected the day of the week and the time of it starting, but that's actually quite good. I quite like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's deliberate or not. I mean, it could be, because they make such a thing of it starts at 7, don't they? It's like, don't be late, like it's a weird time for a play to be happening, because it is a bit of a weird time. I don't know which 7 it is. I'm assuming if they say 7, they mean 7 in the morning, but it's not excessive. I don't know. It could be evening. I don't know. Alan.
Well, if we're talking about a play that I think at the head said it was put on in Fife, in June, 7 p.m. would still be plenty light for some hours.
Yeah.
Because you're quite a long way north, aren't you?
Yeah, but also just the whole concept of time being that precise. I don't know how precise time is at that point. I'm just, I know time can sometimes be a bit more fluid depending on where you live and what the nature of the timepieces and available are. I'm assuming they've got decent timekeeping for the local clock or clocks are available. I don't know. I genuinely don't know about
the
this time.
evening service.
Well, yes, but it's if they just say the service, they wouldn't necessarily say the time. That's interesting. I don't know. I don't know the answers to any of these things. I like these thoughts. Answers on a postcard. Put something in the comments. We could just Google this stuff, but we don't. We just let our minds wander. Eric.
Yeah, the thing I was going to mention was that you could make a drinking game out of this, sort of like with like will to like, where they mention it. Obviously, this is not going to sort of go, and satire of 3 estates, every 5 lines, but there's just so many references to drinking. You could just, I don't know, maybe like every time a vice gets renamed, you take a drink, and then every time something else from our interlude bingo happens, you get a drink, and that kind of thing. That would be kind of fun, although you probably won't remember the play by the end of it.
This is true. We have provided bingo cards for morality plays in the past for this kind of thing. Not necessarily as a drinking game, because I don't think the incidents are regular enough. It would need to be a turn of phrase or something that you encourage people to drink on. But I'm liking these thoughts. I mean, it's got, for a morality play, I mean, it's a long morality play, remember. This is the first of 5 sessions for the audience at home who don't necessarily know how many sessions we're spending on this. It's a long text. It's doing an awful lot of the things that we've encountered in other morality plays, and now that we're into the play itself, this is all very familiar. From much earlier morality plays, going all the way back to Castle of Perseverance, where we've got various people in different areas who are gathered together to corrupt a ruler figure. To much later, much more small scale works as well. So sort of that confusing connection or lack of connection or disconnect with that opening advert for this is really interesting. Other thoughts? Anyone has on this deceit, flattery, and falset? These vices. How are they vices for you? Did you enjoy them as vices? Are we enjoying the vices? Stephen.
Well, I always enjoy vices, obviously, but there's a real sort of let's do the show right here vibe about it, isn't there? It's this kind of like demonic Judy Garland summer stock sort of thing going on, Gee, you can be, sort of whatever it is. Yeah, and we could rig this up. And, it's this kind of this sort of peppy preppiness about it all. It's just so kind of exuberant, really.
Yeah.
The sort of, the moral framework is, to me, if I was watching something like that, I'd just go, yeah, framework, schmamework, I mean... The gang is here. Cool. Let's see what happens now. So it's to do with, isn't it, the way in which these, so-called morality plays are also very often sort of huge celebrations of theatricality of various kinds. I think And it just feels like it's had a kind of shot in the arm, really.
Yes, because we've gone from, there was that sort of in between the king being led off to all sorts of exciting new experiences. We get this good counsel just to hold the moral side of things, and then flattery comes in and does all the make room, sirs stuff. How many times have we heard that? And everyone's doing their own little stand-up routine to the audience, and so it's doing different things and mixing things up in interesting ways as well. Lois.
Yeah, this is about the same period as Res Publica. And I noticed the one device that they have in common, which is that one of the vices says we've got to get things done quickly because in this case, if correction arrives, we've had it. And I think in Res Publica, it's about Nemesis and the four daughters of God. If they meet and kiss each other, we've had it. It's interesting because it's something you get much later in Johnson. I mean, for example, the whole thing in The Alchemist about how many people have died each week and when will the master be coming back. It's I don't know whether it goes back to classical comedy or not, but this idea that there's a time limit and everybody's got to do things in a hurry.
It's that's that sort of self-imposed sense of urgency to everything that it immediately creates. It's oh, there's a word for it. I can't remember. But it gives everything an impetus. We've got to do this quickly. We've got to move the show on. There is dramatic urgency to what's going on. There's some jeopardy. Perhaps. I'm sure we're all going to be really worried about Rex Humanitas' soul. I'm sure we're all. I'm sure, because it could all end up very badly for him. I'm sure. Okay, nobody's taking me up on that. Okay. So, any additional thoughts on flattery and deceit, etc., before I go into final thoughts for the play overall? Right. So we have obviously we've got the opening thing, and we're always thinking about how we do this in performance. It's a big play. We obviously in this particular instance we're not talking about dialect or the Scottishness of it all, which is actually a massive component of the original text and is very much where I'd almost certainly start with a production, because I think there's a lot of that. It inherently makes it fly with a very different flavour. But yeah, we've got a very detachable opening sequence, which is has an awful lot of life to it, and then we've got this moral interlude thing that is going on as well, and questions of what do we do with certain elements of the language, and what does that then do to where we can perform it, because if you're doing an outdoor staging without control over who can hear what you're saying, you have to change some of the words. And should we change some of the words, or do we? Where do we stand on some of that to the ruder elements of things? So, final thoughts around the room, Sarah.
Honestly, I think it depends on how the play goes. I mean, I'm reading this cold, so I've no idea what's going to happen. If it turns out to be a sort of fairly usual morality play, then yeah, I think change the words if you're going to perform it, because you want to perform this outside. You want that kind of public space quality to this, where you just basically accost people on the street or accost people in a public space at least, and you don't know who's going to be watching. You have no control over your audience. So yeah, in that case, change it. But I mean, it depends on how it goes. It depends on how the play unfolds. If it's looking like it's going to be a sort of fairly standard morality play, but it might not be. It might turn into something else. So I don't think you can. Well, you probably could make a call about it because you've read the play before, but I couldn't make a call about what to do with that until I kind of know where it's going and what its intention is. Because I mean, it's looking like it's one particular thing, but hey, who knows? That the trailer, as I keep calling it, the prologue was quite unusual. So maybe it will sheer off in all sorts of interesting directions.
I think we can definitely call it a trailer. I mean, it's a proclamation. It's not a prologue in the sense that it's got a prologue. The proclamation has its own prologue. That it's sort of separate entity. It's I believe there may be some crossover between this and the main play itself, but I don't know how much or whether any of it matters. Actually, I don't think you need to know anything about this opening, that opening gambit. I mean, would you like to see the opening gambit done in its own right as a little thing? I'll go back to Sarah on that.
Yes, I would. Because I thought it was brilliant. Honestly, I thought it was superb. But if you were going to do it as a little separate thing, then I think you should keep it as it is and not change it, because it was hilarious and just really refreshing and entertaining. Not so much because of the vulgarity or the sauciness, but just because it was so direct. I just loved this whole thing of like, we're on at 7, don't forget. It just had a really self-referential quality to it that I enjoyed very much. So yeah, definitely do it.
Alan, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I must admit, I've been looking to see whether there's been any overlap between what was in the trailer and what we've done so far, and so far nothing. I mean, I think that opening trailer section would probably be a damn good fringe show if you were putting together a relatively small group of people, you know, and doing the show fairly frequently on the fringe. It would actually work quite well. The problem I've been having when we got into the sort of main piece itself is that it's so long since we've done one of these morality plays. I was just trying to have to think myself back into the way that they worked, because the stuff we've been working on lately has been some decades after the heyday of that sort of material, and just sort of trying to do a mental reset to get back into it has been tricky.
Yes, that sense of having a sort of living series of conventions, you know, the expectation, the Vices are going to come in now and they're going to do their Vice things, and that sense of one should really do this kind of thing, this kind of interlude, this kind of entertainment within with others. That you're doing them by themselves, they get lonely. Lois, any final thoughts?
Yeah, in many ways, the trailer is like one of those jigs that they did at the end of a play. I mean, especially the old man with the young wife and the chastity belt bit. I mean, that's very like some of the jigs, and which shows that tradition went on and on, I think. Perhaps we should do some jigs at some point. I don't think we have we?
Not yet. They're still work in progress.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, I have seen this play. In fact, I've seen it in the Assembly Hall in Edinburgh, which is where Tyrone Guthrie first revived it in the 50s. And they still do some version of that, heavily cut, of course. And I don't know, I must have seen it back probably in the 70s or 80s. I don't know, maybe even in the 60s when I was actually living in Aberdeen. But so I know that, there's a lot more stuff in it and there's a lot of funny stuff. And if you could easily cut out the bits that you don't like and still have a quite sizable play, in fact, a very long play. And it fits very much into the context of the Reformation. I mean, it is quite difficult, I think, to know which side Lindsay is on, but there's certainly a lot of the same kind of anti-Catholic satire that you often get from humanists like Erasmus, who remained Catholic and didn't actually go with the Reform, but nevertheless satirized everything, up till then. So yeah, I think you haven't really you've seen nothing yet, is what I would say.
Yeah, it's very much a game of two halves with some other bits. Eric, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to know how the old man and the wife and the fool come into it, because like sort of at the moment it's a morality play, sort of, as we've said, but then there's a part of me going, well, they wouldn't do false advertising because that would be silly. But then again, maybe they would. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being naive. Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens in the rest of this play, because obviously this is part 1 of 5, as we've said. So, I mean, like
session one.
Yeah, session 1 of 5. So that's gonna be. I mean, we probably won't remember the beginning by the time we get to the end.
I think certain bits are seared in our memories for all time. And yeah, as Lois says, you ain't seen nothing yet potentially. Stephen, any final thoughts?
Well, not much really. No, everyone's kind of said it. I wonder if it's back to the trailer that we're kind of assembling an audience as well, aren't we? That you could imagine a production of it where these people would actually turn up to watch the play, as it were, in character. And I don't know if it would work better as a really, really nimble, lots of doubling, lots of quick changes, or a cast of thousands. But that might also be the point. Is not that we're necessarily kind of being sold a false bill, but that we've got a model of the audience as kind of idiotic and needing education or correction or something like that. So I think it might depend a little bit on whether these actors, just forget that, or whether we start the play with them all in fairly prominent places.
And yeah, so I'd say the end of our first session. We got a reasonable chunk of the way into the text. We've actually packed in more text this session than we will for most of the others, and yet we still finish relatively early. It's a small room. There aren't as many commentators. We get through things quicker. All that remains is to thank all these wonderful readers for all their wonderful reading. Thank you very much, everyone, and goodbye.
Bye.
First, let me lock thy